Here we are. Welcome to Malaysia. Welcome to Kuala Lumpur. It's day of departure and it's a little bit wet out. It's not as wet as it was when I woke up, and it was absolutely tipping down, but it's not great. Anyway, we're going to go for some brekkie and see if things dry up in the meantime. Yesterday, lovely blue skies in the morning. Today, not so lovely. But climate here is on the damp side, so I came expecting to get a little bit wet. Anyway, we've got to walk past this, dare I say, slightly crazy Hindu temple on the corner, and then we're going to go and eat some Indian food. Sri Ganesha Temple, temple to Ganesh, the elephant god. And we're going to the Sri Ganesha restaurant, a temple to good food. Indians here are Tamils, so it's mostly South Indian food. I've gone for uttapam, which was always a favourite in South India. It's a sort of fermented rice and dal pancake, very nice, slightly sour taste. And then it comes with these accompaniments that you can just help yourself to. So coconut sambal, a spicy one and a less spicy one, so I'm going to tuck it. And a small tea, a small chai. Total cost is almost nothing. I think he wants to come with me. Oh. Cat meets cat. Ciao. Out the door. Past Elio. That way. Ciao. Okay, say goodbye to my new friends in the step in. Go against the traffic. For some reason my course isn't loading on my computer, so I'll just give that a minute and we're off. The rain's stopping, heading out of town. That's always going to be the tricky bit. Big old city, KL. Bike lanes for now, which is nice. We've got to make one little stop off to see something of interest. I mean, there's only one place I could really start a video in Kuala Lumpur. Petronas Towers. Such a green city. Well, Petronas is just behind me. We're right in the centre of town. And it's just full of trees and parks. Some of the other architecture is a little bit ugly, but it's ameliorated, to use a nice word, by all the lovely greenery. I do like those towers. I mean, I've seen photos of them for years, since they were built pretty much, because it used to be, and only for about 5 years, the biggest building in the world, tallest building in the world. That was then superseded by Taiwan 101, which I've also seen. And the Burj Khalifa then took over, and that one looks to be a hard one to beat. Anyway, the Petronas Towers in person are very, very lovely, I think. Shiny and round, and based on Islamic classical architecture, but the architect was I believe an Argentinian American, built in 6 years. That was what the government told them. You got 6 years to do it. That's it, and man, they had to get a move on. Predominantly a Muslim country, Malaysia, but it is a real mix, a real melting pot. I don't even know where to start with what language to speak to people here. They speak Indian, they speak Chinese, they speak Malay, they have indigenous languages. So most of them speak English, so that seems to be the sort of lingua franca. Malaysia, of course, being an ex-British colony, but with that cultural melting pot of so many different languages and races and peoples, you get this massive range of cuisine. And I will start to branch out from Indian. It's just that where I was staying was in a very Indian neighborhood. There was the temple next door and the Sri Ganesha restaurant, which was open 24 hours, 200 meters from the hostel. Cheap, absolutely fantastic food, and pretty much eat as much as you wanted for about £1, which is what I did. Only 44 minutes and I appear to be out of KL and into the greenery and straight into the climbing. 17-kilometer climb, but that's the main event of the day. I have to add KL to the list of places that people told me would not be good for cycling, would be too dangerous. It's not, it's fine. I mean, my standards are perhaps not the same as the normal cyclist in inverted commas, but I think KL's fine. I had no problem getting out of town. There's bike lanes, there's sort of taxi lanes, bus lanes. People are pretty considerate. Yeah, you got to watch out for the usual madness, but KL gets a thumbs up from me. Enough preamble. What's the plan? What's the bigger picture, and what's today's plan? Okay, bigger picture. We're riding from Kuala Lumpur, which is pretty much in the south of the Malaysian peninsula, and we're going to ride back to Thailand. I'm not riding back to Chiang Mai. In theory, and nothing's fixed, I'm riding to a town called Hat Yai, where I can fly back to Chiang Mai. But anything's possible. Who knows what's going to happen? And today's plan, we're riding north, slightly northeast out of KL, over one big climb and then a little one near the end, but nothing major, to a town called Raub. And Raub is, from what I can see, a very nondescript little town, sort of place I just spend the night, and then I'll head north tomorrow into the Cameron Highlands. Sounds fantastic. It's the sort of place the British hung out in the hot summer months. Been in the jungle for a while. View opens out a little bit. $39k to Bentong. That'll be our lunch break, I think, and then about 40k from there on to Raub. I was given some tips for where to eat in Raub, but Raub is famous for one thing, and that's durian. Road surfaces at the bottom were pretty dreadful. A lot of trucks. There was some sort of heavy engineering going on, maybe building a dam or something. But as we've risen up, they seem to have repaved the last few k very nicely. It was also easier gradients at the beginning, but last k or two much steeper to the top. I think we'll be about 700 meters up when we get there in just a couple of minutes. There's trouble. Well, we're at the top, and not quite the views I was hoping for. This must be, I'm guessing this is the old mountain road, and they built a new highway which probably has tunnels and that much quicker. Excellent, because that means most of the traffic is down there on the highway. Now we are at about 600 meters. It's chilly. I'm soaking wet with a bit of rain and sweat, although it's not raining as much as I feared at the top. We've now got a long descent all the way down, then a bit of flat, and then we'll be in Bentong. And I've been given a good lunch restaurant recommendation. Check out this tree. It's got its own little shrine. Ooh, that's an old tree. I did read that Malaysia is an extremely biodiverse country, and not just here, because Malaysia is not just on what they call the peninsula, the main part that attaches to Thailand, but there's a large part of Malaysia on Borneo as well. So Borneo is split between Malaysia, Indonesia and Brunei, I think. And that island is extremely biodiverse. But even here, there's a lot going on, a lot of nature. Definitely gravel bike territory, I'd say. Very glad I'm not on the road bike. I did think about bringing the road bike, but I think I made the right decision. If in doubt, bring the gravel. That's my rule. And then you're ready for anything. Goreng pisang, fried bananas. Goreng pisang?
Yeah.
Not far from lunch, but I saw fried bananas, so I had to stop. Pisang goreng, very good. Indonesia, I'm sure they're just as good in Malaysia. First cyclist I've seen all day. I think we've got to do a left here and then into Bentong for luncheon. Murals. We're looking for a little cafe called Tongki, recommended by Derek, who I met yesterday in KL. Very friendly, a local. He gave me some good food tips and gave me his WhatsApp number and said just message me and ask me about food. Very Malaysian. Okay, into Tongki. I don't know what I'm going to eat in here. Let's get a table, maybe somewhere I can see my bike. Although it's Malaysia, so I suspect it's alright. And then, hopefully, they got an English menu. Okay, that is a bowl of noodly goodness. Yellow egg noodles, big dumplings. I don't even know what's in them. I just go with my gut instinct and see what the broth is like. The broth is king, really. Got some, I'd say, chilies in fish sauce or soy sauce. Anyway, going to tuck in, and then we've still got a couple of hours more riding. Yeah. Makasih. Sedap. Makasih. Heading out of Bentong. About 32k, so yeah, I think we'll be there about 3 o'clock. Perfect. Final 20k to Raub. Not an exciting road, but there's always something of interest, and this seems to be, I'm going to guess, palm oil plantation, because that's one of Malaysia's biggest crops. Both sides of the road. As far as the eye can see, pretty flat now. Quite a fast road, a little bit of traffic, but we've got a bike lane the whole way, so I ain't complaining. Found a simple little hotel in Oyo. There seems to be a chain all across Asia. I've stayed in them before. Anyway, it's cheap. It's about £10 for the night. Left my bike downstairs, but it's stashed away in the coffee room over here. So all that's left now is enjoy a little bit more rain, and then we'll go and find something to eat. Tomorrow, a much bigger day. So I'm going to get some food, get a good night's sleep, and then try and leave a lot earlier tomorrow. And hopefully the rain has stopped. Out of the door of the Oyo. It's relatively early doors. It's 7 a.m. but things are different here because We're an hour different in Malaysia than Thailand, even though we're hardly, good morning, selamat pagi. We're an hour different. They changed their time, I believe someone told me about 20 years ago, and it was to put them in line with, I'll get back on my bike, to put them in line with the Borneo part of Malaysia, which prior to that had been an hour's different from the mainland. So they unified, and that means, unlike Thailand where daylight is normally 6 a.m. to 6 p.m. more or less, here it's 7 a.m. to 7 p.m. Good news is it's not raining. Birds are up nice and early. Past the rather garish green mosque. Bit of mist in the hills, but I see a bit of blue sky up there. That's a good sign. But I'm ready for anything. Haven't had any breakfast, had a couple of bad instant coffees. But food is never far away. I can see these little food stalls are opening. I'm not sure when the next town is. I think it's quite a way, so it's probably a good idea to get some grub. A little place open next to the mosque. I know the lighting's not great here, but what she calls nasi lemak, but you know, rice, coconut rice cooked in coconut milk with a choice, and it was chicken or beef rendang. That was it. No veggie options. But this will see me through for a few miles. Terima kasih. Sama-sama. Okay, that was good brekkie. Fortunately, I'm not someone who needs to eat in kind of Western style breakfast, eggs and things. I'm very happy eating local food, especially when it's as good as that. Very kind of sweet, very different from the rendang I've had in Indonesia, which I love. But definitely a few calories there, and a very friendly young waitress telling me that she goes once a month up into the Cameron Highlands where we're heading to eat strawberries. She said they're particularly sweet up there. And she confirmed that now is not durian season. That's why I've not seen any durian. So, dodged a bullet there. Selamat datang, welcome to Raub. Well, not a bad little town, but just kind of nondescript. Like one of many, many small towns I've spent the night in. You know, they haven't seen a lot of tourists here, but everyone very friendly and welcoming, and had a great dinner last night. Cameron Highlands, 143 kilometers, that's where we're headed, to a little town called Tanah Rata. Looks like it's a game of two halves. Flattish for the first 90 kilometers, and then uphill for the last 50. A couple of big climbs, and we finished the day in the Cameron Highlands in Tanah Rata, which was an old hill station of the British, at about 1,500 meters up. So definitely another reason why I'm leaving quite early, because although yesterday it kind of rained all day, it's more likely to rain in the afternoons. We've left the durian orchards behind, back into the palm oil plantations. I don't see any fruits on these trees, but I did see a truck go past full of them, and they're quite a sight, sort of huge bunches of bright orange red, I guess they call them nuts or fruits, I don't know, heading off to be pressed into oil. Coming into a little town, Sungai Koyan, bit of a crossroads town I think, markets, mosque. We're about 50k in, but we've only done about 10% of the climbing, so yeah, quite a bit to do. That looks like there's the end of Sungai Koyan already, so before we run out of options. I'm going to go and get a cold drink and a snack. Cats everywhere. One great advantage of Muslim countries: less dogs, we don't like dogs, more cats. Second breakfast of champions, bottle of Coke, 3 donuts, that'll do me, and that'll keep me going. I think there's another town just before we hit the big climbs in 40k. Had my sugar intake, straight away we're turning left and straight into a climb. Here we go. Very different road now since we turned off, less traffic, that's good. Up into the jungles and a bit of a view here and there, much lumpier rolling terrain. So just a succession of short climbs and descents, more interesting in a way. I think there's a little town in 20-30k, so maybe we'll try and get some lunch there. Certainly another snack, because it's quite a long way until the next big town. In fact, that's almost at the end of the ride. So into the final part of the ride now. We've done nearly 100 kilometers, the easy bit. Now we've got about 2,000 meters of climbing. Found a little shop, woo, luckily. Bottle of water, a little orange juice and some sort of cake. That'll see me through, because the Ringgit, which is a proper town as far as I can see, is only about another 17k uphill, so probably another hour or so, hour and a half maybe. But anyway, this will see me through. I was warned there weren't a lot of shops in Malaysia, and of course I took no heed. I definitely needed that. I inhaled that whole cake. Originally I thought, oh, I'll just eat half now, save half for later. That didn't happen. I would have eaten more, but I know that I'll be able to get some proper food in an hour or so. I haven't been feeling super strong today anyway, so lack of food really didn't help. Fortunately, I am able just to keep going without food rather than just crashing dramatically. But I am looking forward to a big bowl of noodles or something. That's what I'm dreaming of. Right, up. 8 kilometers up, 500 meters. A little bit stiff, and then one more quite big climb after that. I don't know if you can see it, but it's just started raining. I had decided I was just going to press on because I could see it was getting dark out and probably going to rain. I thought, well, I'll just push on last climb up, and then it started raining, and then I found myself outside an Indian restaurant, so why not? A bit of food will help me get up the last. The last one's a bit of a tough climb, so hopefully it stops raining and doesn't get worse. But if it keeps on raining, I'll just have to press on. Had a little lie down, rain stopped, sun came out, got back into it. About 7k to go, fairly steady climb, shouldn't be too hard. Yeah, blue skies ahead, going a little bit dark again as well, so I wouldn't be surprised if there was more afternoon showers are coming. Let's see if we can outrun them. The Cameron Highlands, named after a Scot, Stuart Cameron, who discovered it, in inverted commas, at the end of the 19th century, something like 1885 or something, I think I read. Obviously the indigenous peoples had known about it for some time, but he discovered it as a potential location for a summer escape from the heat, and so the Cameron Highlands were born. famous for tea plantations, and here we go. Very pretty. Just blanketing the hillside. Cameron Valley tea. Selamat datang ke Tanah Rata, Cameron Highlands. Welcome to Tanah Rata, Cameron Highlands. I don't know what to expect, although I was told there was sort of English colonial style architecture, so should be nicely bizarre. Most hill stations are, in my experience. This is where we're staying. Gotta get up to the second floor though. Excuse me, boys. Normally I check to see if they've got easy access, but I kind of assume little town in the mountains. Anyway, he's found a room for me to keep the bike.